All right, so I'm really, really happy. I was talking to them prior our event just now, and I am seriously so impressed with their journey, with the achievements, with whatever they are doing right now. But I don't want to waste time because I want to go straight to the question that is going to be asked, burning question I have right now. And I'm pretty sure that all of you would have your question and also the sharing that you would want to share. Please feel free to keep that. I'll prompt you and straight away get the mic. All right, okay. All right, let's start with Penny. Okay, my question I wanted to ask every of this question to both of them, but I can't because of the time frame given. But let's start with Penny first. Maybe Penny, you want to share with us how did you start BloomThis? Like what's the background to this, please?
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Penny. I'm the co-founder of BloomThis. So I actually studied food science and nutrition. So if you ask me why do I choose this subject, I did not choose this subject. Actually, I
This
wanted
subject you choose me.
yes, the subject chose me, right? No, simply because actually I got a scholarship, to study this subject, right? And I was thinking that, okay, I want to help my family to save some money, so let's take up the course, right? So after I graduate, actually I worked in an FMCG company, right, in sales and marketing, right? Then after that, I moved on to work in a pharmaceutical company, right? It's a Switzerland-based company, and that's actually where I met my husband. Okay, then a friend, a colleague, right? His name is Gideon, right? So when I first met him, we were just friends, right? He shared with me about the idea of e-commerce, right? So he showed me a website that he has built that is selling flowers, right?
Wow.
So that actually
Trying to impress you at that point of time?
yeah, I believe so. I believe so. Very much of trying to impress. Yeah. But being a good friend, I think that I was just trying to encourage him and say that, oh, yeah, you are very talented. And because of that, then we got hooked up. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So fast forward, actually, BloomThis, right, is actually our third try. Yeah. So we failed twice before trying to build flower e-commerce, right? So, and before this, right, before back in like 2014, 2015, and back then, we didn't know business that much. So we thought that building a website or simply building a website is enough, to get traction, and it's enough to get customers and whatnot. So, but little that we know that actually building a website is just like building a house, right? And if you want to invite people to your house, you got to build the infrastructure. You got to build the highway, you got to build the road, the street light, the signages and all that, just to, attract people to come to your house. So we didn't know much about like the funnel, the AARR funnel, the pirate funnel back then, and we just do it, right? That's why we failed, right? But after that, we do some soul searching, and then we ask ourselves that what we want to do, and our hearts still tell us that we want to make a change in this industry, in the floral and gifting industry, because back then it was very fragmented, right? There is no one, there's no innovation. Customer service was bad, design was bad, product quality was bad back then, right? And we thought that, hey, we really want to be the change to make this industry better and to create moments of happiness to everyone. That's how BloomThis come about.
I was smiling all the way while she was sharing just now, simply because I mean, I could relate really because I'm also an entrepreneur, and I feel like though this kind of story, success stories like this, where you feel you're not ashamed to tell you failed twice previously, and then the third time only, because everyone thought that, oh, okay, you're already a success when you just do it the first time. But maybe Nisa, you also want to share a little bit of like how you started your personal and maybe professional background before to where you are right now.
Sure. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. Hi, I'm Nisa Ismail. Just call me Nisa. I'm currently the CEO for Sedania As-Salam. We are part of Sedania Innovator Berhad. Well, I am 50. I just turned the 5 series this year. I'm just turned 50 this year. So when the questions was sent to me, I kind of like taken a step back. What did I do 28 years ago? You know? But actually, I started, I'm a lawyer by profession. I did my law degree in Oxford. I got a scholarship to go to do my law degree in UK, When I came back, it was 1937. So I don't know whether you guys are still at that, fresh graduate age, or you guys are still kiddos at that time. But 1997 is where the Asian financial crisis came into about. And I was nervous because I thought that I'm not going to get a job, because a lot of my batch at that time coming back, they didn't get a job. But I was very lucky to work for a venture capital company from US at that time, and that's actually opened my eyes for the dot-com industry. In 1998, this is where the dot-com, everything all coming up. There was a dot-com boom at that time. Everybody is coming up. So I started doing the internet business. JobsDB.com was the pioneer. I was the pioneer for JobsDB.com. And then I went to Capital Group in Singapore to do data center. I think the most inspiring work experience is when I joined the aviation industry. So I was in AirAsia. I was set up AirAsia Big. Right now it's called Big Pay. I did AirAsia Insure, which is now called Tune Protect. So I was always in this transformation punya situation lah, build up products, build up. So there's always high and lows, especially having Tony Fernandez as my boss. It's like, failure is unacceptable for him. But, we work very smartly together. And then I joined Enrich to do the loyalty program. So I basically recreated Enrich to become a lifestyle loyalty program. That's why I asked so much about loyalty with you. And then I went to Air Arabia in Dubai to set up a loyalty program in Dubai. Then I came back. That's where I started in fintech. Then that's why I'm in Sedania. So along the line, although I took law degrees, for all of you out there who you think that you take a wrong subject, it's not. You actually make the best of your degree that you got, because it will help you for future. It will help you when you are working. It will help you when doing commercial agreement. My staff are here. They know what I'm talking about, because I always drill in their head how to manage commercial agreements. Even though you are not a lawyer by background, but you still understand the fundamentals of your commercial, or the fundamentals of where you are to be. So I think that's my background. I'm not going to talk so much, because I think there are a few more questions, but I think along the years that I've been working for the last 25, 28 years, is to find the right coach and a mentor in your working life. I think that's more important, because having a right coach and mentor, it will help you to pave the way where you are today. And it helped me today for where I am today, having the right coach and the mentors. So I'll take that in another session.
See, when you put women on the stage together, we cannot stop, right? We have so much to share. Yeah. And it's very incredible, because we know like this is like the path that we are taking, and we would love to mentor and help others, especially other women as well. All right, so we were talking just now, and then I told both of them that it's so important that, we have goals, we have objectives when we do something. So right now we want to go into like definition of goals. People think that when you see goals, right, they thought that you need to have a book writing all your goals, etc. I do not think that's how goals work. Sometimes when you're doing something, you have something at the back of your mind, and that is the goal that you want to achieve, right? So maybe, Penny, you want to start with like, how do you define goals? Like, do you believe in short and long-term goals, for example? And how do you see goals actually?
So I see goal as basically like a vision, okay, or a purpose, okay, that you want to achieve, right? Goal setting, right, is actually very important, especially in an organization, be in an organization or on a personal level, right? So let me talk about in an organization level, because we just did our kickoff meeting 2 days ago, so it resonates with me, this question, right? So in an organization, the goal is important to basically align the interest of everyone, right? So with a clear goal, right, you can then bring everyone into the same direction. Because let's just say you have 100 people in your organization, everyone has their own thinking, everyone has their own aspiration and all that. So if we don't set a clear goal, everyone will do a different thing. And in the end, you will not be achieving your company goals or your company target, right? So the goal setting, from what we see that we use this module called OKR, okay? We call it the objective key result, right? So by setting the objective, and the objective has to be big enough, right? And it has to scare you, right? A little bit. or if not more, right? To define it as a good goal or a good objective. And then you need to have a key result that is measurable and that is specific, right? To track whether are you getting closer to your objective or not, right? Then after that, we break it down into what kind of initiatives that you need to do, all right, in order to achieve all those key results. So goal setting for me is a platform, all right, to align everyone's interests so that at the end of the day, the company can hit the goal. And why is it important for the company to hit the goal? Because it leads back to our personal interests, right? So when the company prosper, I think, that's where,
The bonus comes in.
the bonus comes in, that's where, we have more to give, to the people in our organization. We have more to give to our community.
Talking about the workforce or the female workforce, I'm glad that I believe lately the government are encouraging more of women coming back to workforce after having babies or after being in the home industry and then now going back to work. I think they should actually create more, more training, more workshops to actually encourage them, because I can imagine women after a while being home and then coming out in the workforce. It can be scary out there, but if you can actually motivate them and give them all the ammunitions for them to be in the workforce, why not? I mean, I think there's opportunity, and we have more women leaders up and coming. And don't be afraid. Just go out there and hustle, man. I mean, that's my motto, hustle.
I have more burning question, but I'd like want a follow-up question. You were saying about like how fintech industry is actually male-dominated, right?
Yeah.
So you face with men most of the time, especially you were saying just now about most of your board directors are male, right? So is there a specific challenge when it comes to men? Like, how do you show leadership when you are in the board meeting, for example, full of men?
Calm, collected, and always basically address what you want to achieve and deliver the work. I think that's that's my motto since day one. Even before CEO level, I have to manage the board director for AirAsia, Malaysia Airlines. That's how I do. It's becoming calm and collected and know your facts. When you know your facts, don't just know on the surface. Know the detailing part, A to Z. This is where women are good for.
Yeah,
detailing, meticulous, and understand the facts.
I have to agree with that. How about you, Penny? Do you agree with like how she's managing the challenges? Do you face the same challenges? Especially that I also understand you have a male partner, not just as a husband, but also somebody you stay in the office together. I'm pretty sure there are some entrepreneurs or people who actually have such challenges.
So luckily for me, I think I don't really have too many challenges when dealing with a male counterpart. Because I think fundamentally, I think everyone is mature. They have the fundamental respect, right, for females, right? But if I were to name a challenge that I face with working with male, it would be more so of their assertiveness, right? So women
How
are
assertive is that?
generally more gentle, more, I would say, accommodating, and basically more compassionate. But for the female counterpart, it's very aggressive and very dominating. And sometimes it can make you feel very intimidating. Like, oh, I better, get my facts right first before I say anything, right? Right? Otherwise, it will be, you will look, you look bad on you, right? So I think it's more on the art of communication and dealing with one another. Actually, it's not just to male. And this actually applies to both male and female, right? So you need to see who is the audience, right? Who are you talking to? And speak the language that can resonate with the audience. It doesn't matter it's a male or female, because there are very assertive female out there as well that make you feel very
how
scary.
do we actually maintain that composure when you face with assertive men? Like, what do you do? We talk about like how men are very assertive when it comes to like decision making, for example, right? So how do you face that? I mean, do you become more?
It's no point to be more assertive. It's no point being the same level of ego. It's no point doing that because you're not going to get anywhere. So just stick to your facts and basically deliver it. And you got to be one hell of a confident person to talk to this sort of audience.
Yeah. All right, we have like really cool business owner. We have really cool CEO over here who actually are very, very determined when they make decision, when they are in the room full of men. But I would like to go into a little bit more into like how other women would feel, especially, we talk about like we read a lot and see how other women sometimes they do have imposter syndrome. That's quite normal when we talk about it. In achieving their goals, talking about like the structure in a company, for example, there will be women who would want to climb up the ladder, who would want to go far, for example, but they have like this self-doubt. All right, they most probably have this doubting themselves, asking just themselves whether I should be there, like whether I am qualified to be there. I mean, to be very honest, right? No man feels that way. They will just, I'm just gonna sit at your place, but I'm the type of woman that this is my seat. I'm just gonna sit here. But how do you? What advice can you give to such, especially for younger women who just start their career or maybe start their own business? Maybe start with both of you. One answer from both of you, please, Penny.
I think acquiring knowledge is very important as one of the way to overcome your lack of self-confidence, right? So because the imposter syndrome often deals with the lack of self-confidence, even though you have the ability to do that, but you don't feel that you can do that, right? So I think one of the way is to really equip yourself with knowledge. And with knowledge, right, how do we acquire knowledge these days? Knowledge is actually abundant these days. They are everywhere, right? There are so many platforms that you can get knowledge from. And one of the method that I resonate with what Nisa said earlier on, right, is to get a mentor, right? To have a mentorship with someone that you trust, someone whom you share the same values, right? To basically guide you through and how to help you to navigate in terms of the challenges that you face in your business or in your careers lah. Yeah, so I would say that would be one of the way. And the second thing that is that you just gotta step up and do it, right? So to be honest, right, every time I've been on stage quite a number of times, but every time before I come on stage, right, I do feel scared, right? I do feel nervous. It's like, oh, what if I say the wrong thing? What if, my hair doesn't look nice and things like that, right? Yeah, but the thing is that you just gotta take the step and just do it, right? And when you do it and you fail, right? Just like how I failed in the past and all that, do not give up and do not be afraid of failure. It's okay if you don't think that you can do it, but you step out and do it, and the result is not ideal, right? Just learn from the mistake. Just learn retrospect in terms of like, which way went wrong, and then go again. Yeah.
That's amazing. How about you, Nisa?
I always believe, especially I deal with a lot of fresh graduates coming in for interviews and all that. And it's strange to see some of the fresh graduates came to me and I asked, what do you want to do? They have no idea what do they want to do. Although they have great degrees, but they still don't know what to do. I think I talked to you guys earlier on. I think university level, they should actually not just get them into internship, but actually have a coaching and mentoring for these students to actually see what do they want to do when they get out from university, what do they want to basically get themselves involved in, whether are they going to basically do the work that based on their degree or off tangent of their degree. It's still okay. At the end of the day, maybe I'm sure there's a lot of young fresh graduates now, I want to be an entrepreneur. It's okay to let them be an entrepreneur, but like what Penny said, and I also believe in it, you need to do research. Research is so important. It's key to everything you want to do, especially when you want to even get a job. I would appreciate that particular person who want to go for an interview. Do research about the company. Do research about the interviewer so you can create an engagement as well when you want to do an interview. The same thing for doing the business. Do some research about what you want to get yourself into. I mean, I think I mentioned to you before, when the whole 25 years ago, I actually set up a business called Cuckoo Bar. It's the first nail bar that I created while I was working full-time. And that is something, at that time, I was telling myself, do you want to do master's degree, MBA? No, MBA is just about theory. But this is more than MBA because I'm launching business. So I took the leap of faith. For me, instead of doing MBA, I did a business together with my sisters to do this. So I learned a lot more than just having a theory. So this is for young students, for young professionals, just to understand what they want to do is very important. That first, second is research. Third, mention getting the coach, getting the right mentor, getting the right network of people. The ecosystem is very important that they want to get involved in. I think having this session is very good because you are creating that ecosystem, the holistic ecosystem that they can be involved in before they go into the leap of faith. You know, where I said, do I want to dabble into this business? Get the facts, do the research, get the feedback, the input. How do you do a P&L? Nak buat business tapi tak tahu buat P&L macam mana kan? How do you do the marketing? Get the foundation right. So see whether can I do this or not. That's where the next level, the next question. So that's something that we as a young entrepreneur need to understand, need to know about this.
That's amazing. But just one follow-up question on that. How do you see failure when you are so prepared, for example, right? But of course, there are tendency to fail. Like, how do you see failure?
I mean, for me, I work for a public listed company. I mean, for them, failure is not an option, right? But at the end of the day, you know, of course, along the way, there is failure. There's bumps along the way that how you want to get the business running. But you don't give up. You know, for me, giving up is not a weakness, it's a strength where you pick it up yourself and say, I'm not going to make the same mistake again. But along the line, you still make the same mistake, but you know, but the marginal of that mistake is lesser, not 90%, probably about 30%. So you know, but never fault yourself. That's the most important thing. Never fault yourself and say, oh, this is my mistake. And no, you make the mistake, get up and move on, and go and carry on. I think that's the mentality that everybody needs to have, regardless whether you're an entrepreneur or you're a corporate person. You need to do that.
So it's okay to make mistakes, but okay. Learn from it.
Yeah, and
right?
then don't make it 90% make the mistake, still make the 90% mistake. Reduce it 30%, so you know. Then
that's an improvement to
it.
Yeah,
eventually it is a good KPI for yourself as well. Oh, I did make that mistake. Okay, good. You know, so you are putting some measurement for yourself as well.
All right, okay, that's amazing. You know, I can't stop be asking follow-up questions, although it's not in my script or my question I've sent to them. But also, we want to hear from all of you. If you have any question that you want to ask, or anything that you want to share, is this not just question, but anything you want to share as an experience, as an entrepreneur, somebody who is in a corporate, for example, please, there will be a mic passed to you. But I have one question before I open up, all right? Please, the mic will be passed. But one question that I want to now go into this work-life balance, all right? And currently, I've been reading also about work-life integration, all right? So those are just wordings, okay? But some of us would think or also incorporate work-life balance in our work. How do you see work-life balance?
First of all, life is very unfair, right?
You have to choose?
Yeah, life is very unfair. But there's one thing that is very, very fair, which is everyone has 24 hours, right? So you have 24 hours, I have only 24 hours. And I think that's one of the fairest thing, okay? And what you got to do, what you want to do within that 24 hours is all in your hand. Whether do you want to spend the time to watch Netflix, or do you want to spend the time to scroll through your social media, or you want to spend the time to, read a book, right? Or to start a side project, it's entirely up to you, right? So when we talk about balance, right? So I don't quite subscribe to the work-life balance simply because if you have a balance, something must give, right? You must give up something in order to be balanced, right? So I prefer to use the word like integration, where you integrate your life and your professional work together, right? So the key on balance or the integration is prioritization, right? How do you prioritize your task or your goal? Which one takes precedence, right? Because you only have 24 hours. What do you want to do first, or what do you want to prioritize first, right? And with that, then you can sort of like manage your time well. You will have a better time management, and that will also lead to like lesser burnout because you have a structured timetable, for what you're going to do, right? We will have 1,001 tasks every day, right? But
non-stop.
Non-stop, right? And work just keep coming. But you just need to, categorize, your responsibilities and your tasks in the quadrants, in the 4 quadrants, and, act upon it, right? So that's, I think, how you sort of like can achieve the balance, if you want to put it that way.
Lovely. How about you, Nisa?
Okay. Every day, I have a yellow notepad. Every morning after subuh, I will say, what do I need to do today? That's my checklist for the day. I've been doing it since my university days. So it kind of like managed my life 24/7 lah, okay? But I think at the end of the day here is how to manage work-life balance is that if you are a very passionate person, you go all out to make sure that whatever that you do is basically deliverable. Like I'm very passionate in my work, so I'm a workaholic, I must say, okay? I'm a workaholic, but that means I will work on weekends as well when I have the time. But I'll make sure that I love myself. All you women, you must love yourself. Although you're passionate at work, you must really love yourself. I think that's work and life.
Take care of yourself.
Take care of
the most
yourself
important
is
thing.
more important, and for me, it's all about, I have a team of 25 people under me. Doesn't matter whether man or woman. I said, if you are swamped, we are so stressed, get out from this office, go out and just take a chill pill or something like that. You need to do that as a leader. I also, as a leader, to what extent I'm not a energizer bunny, working so hard and working all the time. But at the end of the day, if you need to switch off, switch off. You need that switch off. You need to basically switch off, collect yourself, or take the power nap, and then get up and just do it. That's work. For me, that's work-life balance. In our company, we do have work from home as well. That we do. We do start practicing. So because we know that after the COVID and all that, there's a need for people to have that balancing act. So we do have once a week work-life balance. But again, if you need to switch off, switch off. You need to go out for coffee, go. As long as you deliver your work. If you're passionate about the work, you definitely want to deliver your work. So that's my work-life balance. But for me, it's love yourself more. Go for your facial, go for your massage, go for your wash and blow, and pick it up back all over again.
So I love hearing you say when you are actually a workaholic, but actually prioritize yourself as well.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
most important thing,
yeah.
because work can't be done, if let's say you don't actually prioritize yourself.
Yes.
So you can be so workaholic, but then you're not looking after yourself.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So I was made to understand that we have a question. We have our first someone from the audience who is going to ask a question. Please. Okay.
Hi everyone, my
Introduce
name is
yourself.
Yan.
Okay.
Question for Penny maybe, and probably Nisa. Penny touched very briefly about prioritizing goals, right? But how do you prioritize long-term goals and short-term goals when it comes to managing your team? Because the company has long-term and short-term goals, and how do you prioritize that when you are assigning it to the team? And maybe if you can share a little bit about how do you track progress? Do you have tools, or do you do the usual traditional regular check-ins? Just a little bit of sharing on that. Thank you.
Question. Yeah. So balancing between short-term goals and long-term goals, right? Okay. So I think one of the important thing to look at is your resources, right? What type of resources do you have at this juncture? And the resources that you have, all right, be it, so for us, we look at it into 3 Ps, right? The people, the process, and the platform, right? So we look at this current juncture, our people, process, platform, and other resources, right? Is it enough, to propel us to the long-term goal, right? If it's not, then what can we achieve with the current resources that we have, right? So I think by knowing and understanding what kind of resources that you have, then you can set the goal based on the milestone, right? And short and long is very subjective, right? For some people, short is later, right? Or for some people, short is a year, right? So it's very subjective, right? So we just need to look into the type of resources that we have and plow the chart in terms of the outcome that we want to see. Because when we set the objective, we got to be realistic as well. I think one of the element, the SMART, right? R is the whether is it realistic or not, right? Is to look into the reality in terms of, can I really do this in this amount of time, right? And I think NASA had a video that they say that we are going to the moon in 2024. I'm not too sure whether can we go to the moon in 2024, right? But I think that's how we look at it, short term and long term, right? And 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 I echo what Simon Sinek say as well, right? We are actually in an infinite game, right? Doing a business, running the business and all that. We are always in an infinite game, right? So think of us that no, we actually have abundance, right? When you start thinking that you are in abundance, you have abundance of people, process, and platform and resources, then you will plow a objective or a goal that is very, very impactful, right? Yeah, so I think that's the question number one. Question number two is in terms of like how do we track progress? So in BloomThis, we, as much as we are a floral gifting company, but we also like to call ourselves as a tech-enabled company, right? So we do our check-ins and our dashboards very diligently. So we have both the platforms to track our dashboarding, and we also do the check-ins because the human interaction, the one-on-one, the regroup, the stand-ups and all that are very important, right? Because we're not just robot looking to the numbers and dashboards every day, right? But we also need to check in with the humans to understand their well-being, understand their feelings, how are they doing personally and professionally, right? So yeah, tracking the progress is important. So earlier on, I mentioned about the OKR, the key result. So we need a tool, okay? The tool actually doesn't have to be like very expensive software that you buy from the US or whatnot. It can be just as simple as Google spreadsheets, right? To track your progress. So tracking the progress is definitely one of the way, it's basically like a health check, lah, okay? It's like a pulse check and to observe and see whether are you on track or not, yeah.
I think I read a book on this OKR, on tracking this, tracking on this. So it's very relatable when you talk about it. It just reminded me of the book that I read previously. But also on that, right, speaking on like this whole thing that, checking in with your employees, for example, is there any policy practice in the company, to help the well-being of the staff, for example, to help work-life balance?
Okay. So we started the business since 2015. So to this year, we are approaching the 9th year, right? So I think it would be a little bit inappropriate to still call ourselves a startup because we are not that baby stage anymore, but neither are we the big corporate companies or the MNCs and all that. So I will turn ourselves as an emerging company or a growth company, right? So during a growth company, there are still a lot of limitations in terms of resources, right? But we try to do it in our means, right? So we have a social clubs in our organization. We have this thing called the Pantry Paradise Club, where we actually put pantries up in our pantry and people can actually buy it. But of course, we do sponsor as well. We do subsidize as well. So, and in our pantry there is a room called the recharge room where we allow our employee to go in to take a power nap or to recharge themselves.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The power nap, I'm listening to that.
Yes, yeah. And they can also use that recharge room, especially for females or new mothers to do their breastfeeding. Yeah. And we also give some leeways to our staff. So we have our team huddle every Monday evening, right? So, and then, nurseries and all that, they close at 6 p.m. So we do allow our staff to bring their kid to the office after 6 p.m. while we are still having that huddle. But of course, the kid will be outside the boardroom, right? Otherwise, it will be very disruptive and other people cannot concentrate. But we do welcome employees' kid to come to our office, yeah. And apart from that, we also have other social clubs such as we have this board game bonanza club where they play chess and board games. And we also have this thing called wellness warrior clubs where the committee members, which is our staff, right? They will set up like engaging activities and bringing the staff out for like badminton, yoga, hiking, and things like that. So I think these are some of the satellite projects that we do on the site, right, to ensure the well-being and the inclusivity of the team members in our organization.
at first when you were saying just now, oh, we are an emerging company, we have so much limitation. I thought she would just mention is one or two lah, the benefits, but now she's mentioning one after another, which is very, very great. So yeah, you can send your resume next to the BloomThis CEO. All right, okay. All right, okay. So I love it when Nisa was very specific just now on mentoring. All right, mentoring our younger women, our younger university students, right? To actually allow them to have access to the reality of life, especially working life. Or maybe you would want to share right now, like any specific skills you expect from them when entering into your company, or something that they can learn, while studying, for example, before entering into the reality of work.
I think it's communications.
Pretty
I
much
always
important.
look at communication skills when fresh graduates comes over for interview. I look at how they speak, how they carry themselves, how they basically communicate their intention. That's very important. I believe the universities right now, they need to put a lot of emphasis on communication, not just on speaking, but writing too. Because we as a CEO, sometimes we receive emails, introduction of products and all that. I'm so sorry, but most of them, when they send me an email, they use that, the short messaging one. I'm like, that's a big no-no, guys. Come on. I think that's the reality. That's the reality that we as matured professionals are facing right now. And I think that is something that university need to put some emphasis on how do you actually communicate to their peers, how do you communicate to their customers, how do you communicate to your management. So that's very important. So I wish I can basically go and talk to these universities and say, guys, if you want to have your people to work in a workforce, professional workforce, get the communication right, get your writing skills right.
All right, okay.
Bahasa or English, doesn't matter.
This just reminded me,
Yeah.
I was doing some interviews, then we were receiving, of course, a lot of emails from students, from fresh graduates, to go in for this interview. And I received so many emails. They were just attaching their resume or CV there without any introduction. And I was telling my partner, okay, what are they expecting me to do now?
Yeah.
Sending just this attachment. All right, okay. So we have like more questions coming in. Can we have the next question? Oh.
Hello, this question is for Nisa. Hi, Nisa. Okay, from your past experience, right? Women have their own ego and men as well. We know that, and there are many types of female and male. There's alpha, sigma, beta, and whatnot. Okay, so you being, I believe you being an alpha. So have you ever experienced resistance, some sort of a resistance, not only when you were dealing with men, but also leading them? How did you deal with, men with, alpha men?
Alpha and alpha male and alpha,
Alpha
female.
male and alpha female.
That's like
What's
Godzilla and
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my
Okay,
question. Thank you.
Sure, thanks. That's a good question because I find it whenever I speak to my client who are the top CEOs of other banks or other corporations. I mean, I'm here as a selling of the solution, right? So I think this is where women have a little bit of specialties. We look at the flow and how the communication. I say, oh, is this guy nak kita be aggressive? Janganlah bagi aggressive because we are selling the solution. So that's why I said calm and collected is very important. And you have to be smart in what you're selling. You have to be eloquent as well. The finesse must be there. If tak ada finesse, tak ada apa you boleh jual. And they will look at you like, oh, you're just like any other. They will trash you, So just become collected, be finesse. The finesse of eloquent is more than anything else. But of course, understanding your products, know your facts, and you're going to go in with a kill, they cannot say anything. Yeah. They cannot say anything. They will just say, okay, where's the agreement, Nisa? Can I sign? That's what I want to hear. I've gone through that for the last 18 years with the board directors and all that to justify the plans, They are so much bigger than you, but you are there to tell the facts. Be calm and collected, have that finesse. You're okay. No worries.
I just feel there's a lot of expectation on women, especially when we are the leader, or like, when we are in the seat, the chair that we are sitting, that there's a lot of expectation. I will have to wrap up because we only have 50 minutes. I thought I have 2 hours, all right? So I'm just, before we wrap up, my very last question is just coming out from the question from the floor just now. Do you think that women are expected to do a lot of things? We are expected to have this kind of like composure. We are expected to do this and that. Is it so much to expect from women, especially those in this career, having career? Yeah, please.
Delegation. You got to learn the art of delegation. We women, entrepreneurs or corporate women, we need to learn the art of delegation. And at the same time, control of the situation, control of the facts, control of whatever that you are managing right now. But delegation is important because we women needs to empower. It doesn't matter whether we empower female or male, we need to have the empowerment. That's where delegation comes in.
All right. Okay, we actually have more questions coming in. I can't wrap up as yet. Okay, yes, please. Okay. Can you introduce yourself also?
Hello, my name is Liana. My question is for Nisa. Okay, you mentioned about mentorship, how important mentorship is for people just starting out their career. So I would like to ask, how can these people starting out their careers identify the right mentors? And my second question is, what are the criteria you can look for when you are identifying mentors for the line that you are in?
All
All right, thank you.
Thank you. We have 2 big mentors here. You all can choose after this.
Okay, good question. Thank you. I believe mentorship doesn't come easy also. I mean, it takes time to understand who your coach or your mentors. If you are the first time maybe in the university or looking out for the right coach, the right guidance, I think always look from the lecturers that you prefer the most, that you can engage the most. And this lecturer will actually be your coach or your mentor to actually guide you. And then along the way, when you feel that you want to be in the industry of media or industry of telco or IT, look into your surroundings as well. Who in that industry as well? Going to LinkedIn, there's a lot of network that you can actually engage with. Identify, this is where you've got to do a bit of research. Sometimes mentoring is not about getting that particular person to mentor you. It's also reading and doing research. That's also part of your reference, I call it reference coaching in a way. So that's what I do the most. I do a lot of research and see how I can apply some of my job progress through this research. And then in terms of your identity, what's the criteria of your coach? Sometimes your gut feeling,
You must know, right?
You must know whether it can click or not click, My coach, it's actually, I have 2. They are the HR, Chief Human Resource Officers from a largest telco and an airline. They are my 2 coach mentors because I need management skills to manage my team. So that is the coach and the guidance I need to get. I need to know how to manage individuals. I need to know how I do character building for my staff because you cannot be successful without your staff, without your team members. So this is where you as a leader, you need to build the character building. You need to unleash your talent. So find that there's no criteria to it, but it's all deep in you, whether that particular person can guide you or not. Can you have the same network, the same wavelength in order to guide you? So that's a gut feeling, to be honest. But it's only you know. I will know, but I know what's my weaknesses. My weaknesses is people management, that I need to manage my team. I need to drive my team to achieve their goal. How do I do that? I need to work with those coach mentors from HR industry. So it's up to you. Okay?
Maybe Penny would want to add a little bit of like how do young people especially identify their mentor?
Okay, so I think young people these days, they hang out a lot on the social media. And on social media, there are a lot of pretentious people as well, claiming that sometimes they are coach and whatnot, right? So, and they will ask you to pay some money, to go into their course and all that, right? So there are a lot of different coaches, all right? But I find the most effective one, right, is actually a pro bono mentorship. Yeah. So because there is no monetary incentive, to journey with this person, right? Once there is that monetary incentive, right, you wouldn't really know whether is that person of your interest or not, right? So I find that
It must be voluntary.
one of the most effective one. Okay, I wouldn't say it must be, but I would say one of the most effective one is a pro bono type of mentorship, whereby the mentor genuinely wants to help you in your well-being, in your success, in your business or your career or your studies and whatnot, right? So, and another point on mentorship, to find the right mentor, right, is you always need to look into the competency and of course the credibility of the person, right? Whether this person has a track record or not, and whether this person ultimately, can you trust this person or not? Because you are going to share your something that is very deep down inside you, right? You're going to share your personal challenges, your sometimes the things that you're sad about or you're happy
must
about.
trust the
You must
person.
trust the person, because when you are, let's say you are down low, you must trust the person to not spread whatever information that he or she knows about you to the public. Likewise, when you have success, right, and you want the person to be genuinely proud about your achievements and not, be jealous or envious and all that. So you got to find the person that you can trust in this journey of mentorship.
That's very amazing. Good tips on identifying your a mentor. I think we have one more question. Okay, yeah, please. Okay, actually we have a few more. Am I allowed to take more questions? Okay, yes, of course. Okay, yes, please. Introduce yourself.
Hi, Kokila, Vani Vadivelu. Thanks, Penny. Thanks, Nisa. And thanks, Madam Moderator. I'm going to make it quick because I think there's many more people wanting to ask question. I think you've answered a lot of my queries and my concerns, but what I'd like to know is how, as both entrepreneurs who have probably started to lead and in being in the business pre-COVID, and now that we have, I think there are two distinct features. We see that the mental health is on the decline in terms of everybody, including us as leaders as well. And also, we also see the rise in online entrepreneurs. So I would like to know, as both leaders, as in She Leads, what kind of game changing that you had to do in your leadership and your business in terms of post-COVID. The differences you had in the past while pre-COVID and post-COVID, because I'm definitely having to adjust. It's not an easy thing. The dilemma is huge for me, so I'd like to hear it from you. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, Penny.
Yeah, so pre and post-COVID, for us, operationally, it didn't really change a lot, simply because, our business is, part of our business is also very labor intensive, right? And it's also production. So we sort of like need the people to come back to the workforce to work in order to create and arrange beautiful flowers and gifts, to be sent out, because thankfully, robot is not replacing, the art of flower arrangement work just yet, right? So yeah, so in terms of managing, let's say the younger generation in the market, right? I think the thing is that we got to know, what is our company vision and mission, right? And we sort of like be very specific and particular as well as who to join the company, right? So when we meet like a candidate, right, we spell out, what are we here for and what do we do and what does it take for you to do in order to achieve that vision and mission or to the goal. And if the person cannot align, we are so sorry that, that this person might not be the right fit, for the company, right? So it's sort of like there's a self-filtering or self-selection in this process, because because as a company, we are really unable to customize, the request of each and every different individual, right? But we rather look at it that, hey, this is our goal, this is our company policy, this is how we roll, this is our values, okay, and behavior on how we conduct our business and on a personal level. Are you game or are you out, right? Unfortunately, it's not so much of a customizing to what the personal need is, but whether this person can fit into the culture to grow the business together or not, because we are all doing this together. And if we have one or two person who is misaligned and all that, unfortunately, we just have to let the person go if the person is not aligning to the company culture or the company objectives. Yeah. But of course, in this day and age and all that, we also have to be more tactful in terms of how we communicate. So while we are setting this kind of, I wouldn't say boundary, I would say criteria or assessment, on who to bring in, we are also very aware on how we communicate with the next generation, right? So if the next generation is, they need to text in the short term and all that, I try to understand that what are they trying to say and all that, right? Rather than saying that, hey, you don't, you must full text with me and all that. So I think getting into their world is also part of a very important ingredient as to the leaders, when we deal with the younger generation. Yeah.
Yes, please. To answer your pre-COVID and post-COVID, right? I think pre-COVID, actually, people were so relaxed during pre-COVID. Everything is still traditional. And where I am at, I'm selling digital banking or digital onboarding solutions and stuff like that. So hard sell, to be honest, before COVID. But right after COVID, everybody was asking me for that particular platform and said that, I can't open my business, MCO, lockdown, how can I basically get? I think that really changed the mindset of the dynamics of post-COVID until today. And not just on the business, but also on the employment and also on the working industry, the workforce. It has changed the dynamic of the workforce as well. I have a client who decided to shut down all their branches and just purely go on digital. And we do digital, a lot of digital acceleration. So that's really good. But it changes the mindset of the workforce as well. The workforce mindset is now they're expecting that I want a timeout. I want once a week work from home. I want this, I want that. It's okay because we need to give that, because mental health is very important. Yeah, I think not many people understand how crucial the mental health issues here right now. You can say people looks good, but actually they're not okay. They're not good. But I think that's where it's eating in the workforce today, that we need to protect them. We need to make sure that they are okay. So there's two things here, business and workforce mindset. Two different things here. But the COVID changed the entire whole dynamic of those two. So we got to embrace that. So as a leader, as an entrepreneur, I think we need to basically get into the program and basically drive it. We don't know when is the next pandemic. You don't know. But I think we are ready now. We are prepared to do that. But it's just, I think that's a different topic altogether, understanding the new generation in your industry. That's a different altogether.
I'll propose that.
Oh, yeah. Because like what Penny said, you got to be in that, in their wavelength as well. But you have to be strict as well and firm that they have to be also in our industry, in our wavelength as well, so that we can shape them to be a better person. But that's a different story altogether. But what I'm trying to say is the mindset has changed. I think it's for the better, but you need to manage the mental health statement. Yeah?
All right. Okay. We have our very last question over this side. All right. Okay. Please introduce yourself.
Hello everyone. So hi, I'm Siti and I'm from Project Hikayat, a Malaysian virtual avatar company. And so, my question is a two-parter actually. All right, the first one from me is that, now I'm working full-time, right, as a sales executive. But before, I was actually a freelance artist and event organizer, okay? So it was like the entrepreneur side first and then the full-time side, right? So, but when I went into full-time working now, I kind of find it hard to actually try to integrate the work-life entrepreneur side. It's not work-life balance anymore. It's just like those three. Yeah, it's just like, I was wondering if there's any like tips from both of you, regarding how to like better manage this kind of predicament lah, in my experience, right? And actually, the second one is from my colleague Marisa. The second one is there any general tips? Because we tend to hear that people usually say like, oh, I just clock in today and just wait for 5 p.m. and then like balik, like want to go home. That, in general, okay. So is there any kind of tips also in order to better navigate through that feeling of
Motivation, you mean?
yeah, right. So it's like you just go to work and then you tak sabar nak balik, that kind of thing. This is like general speaking lah. Okay, thank you so
Alright.
much.
Okay, maybe one of you first.
Answer the first part of it first. Okay. Your first question is like, how do you juggle between like a full-time job and a part-time job and an entrepreneurship? All right. That's a lot of things. Okay. I don't know how you do it, first of all. All right. But, all right. So I think it's very important that, what do you want ultimately, right? Because now you have three things on your plate, right? What do you want ultimately? And what is the timeline, okay, that you have set yourself to achieve what you want, right? So to be honest, we are unable to do everything well and good at the same time, right? So we gotta focus. We gotta put in focus to the work that we want to do, so that it has result, right? If we are just 30%, 30%, and 30%, we wouldn't be going anywhere. So I think the first thing first is to ask yourself, which path do you want to take ultimately? And what is the timeline, okay, that you have set yourself to do it? So when I first started the business, I actually juggled between my full-time job and running BloomThis as well, right? But I do set myself a timeline or a milestone and say that, hey, if my company hit this certain milestone, I'm going to determine to relinquish my full-time job, all right, to be 100%, okay, delving into entrepreneurship, right? So you got to set that timeline and milestone for yourself as well, right? Because you got to be responsible first to your organization as well, because the organization is not receptive of someone who is pouring only, like, say, 30% in their work, right? So you got to be respectful to your organization and your colleagues as well, right? And of course, during the meantime, when you're trying to get some money or to hit some milestone to set your goals, right? Then after that, you need to make a decision. Whether do you want to go in full-time in your job, or do you want to delve in full-time in your entrepreneurship, right? It's your personal choice.
Yeah. The second question, maybe Nisa.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's basically leadership as well. Well, as an example for me, for my team, we work hard, play hard, and eat hard. Okay, so that's how it is. But I did tell them, we work and you must deliver. We have the ultimate. That is the goal we have, right? So for me, I want them to have the empowerment to know that they have to deliver over and above what they have to do. Instill the empowerment in them. How I do it is basically take leadership by example lah. So for me, if I need to go home early, I'll go home early. But I make sure that I deliver my work whatever the time is, I'll make sure I deliver it. So the team members actually sees that and they say, okay, I don't have to shut down at 6, but I know if I have to shut down at 6 and go back, I will still do my work at home. Because now I'm sure all of you have laptops and all that, right? Smartphones, work on the go. So you will have that mentality of work on the go. It depends on your leadership and how the workforce is. But because we are fintech, we are always on the go, you see? So we have to basically deliver commercial propositions and then work with clients and all that. We always do it 24/7. But it's how you how the leadership instill it in the whole company DNA at the end of the day. Our company DNA is as such that we work hard, we play hard, but we deliver results. So it depends. I also want to address some of your first question and what Penny said. At the end of the day, what Penny said is correct. I remember I told you that I had a business while working full-time, but I made the decision, use that business as my master degree, as my master MBA, but I did not take MBA. But I decided to say that I want to learn how is it like to open a business and build a brand and sell it to Pakistan and Metro Jaya on its own. So that is my personal achievement. So it's up to your personal achievement to decide whether is this the path that you want to take as an entrepreneur, or your side gig can be your entrepreneur, or you want to basically make your side gig as minimum but work full time. So you have to decide when you're going to be ready for that. But you know what are your, you have to do the balancing act lah. Okay?
All right, okay. That actually wraps up my last question because I wanted actually our speakers, our panelists to actually share maybe some last tips, all right? Last tips on making sure that, you know, especially career women, young women who are now in their own career or having their own entrepreneurship, how to actually make sure that they align with their goal, achieving their goal as well. Penny, just some last words.
Yeah, I think one of the traits or character that we need to have is to be adaptive, right? The world is actually moving really fast. It changes really fast. And we really got to be really adaptive to what comes, right? COVID, no COVID, post-pandemic and whatnot, black swan event or whatnot, right? So whatever situation or circumstance that is thrown at us, we got to be adaptive and to react fast, you know, to act fast to the change of the situation. Yeah.
Yeah, Nisa.
Make it simple, guys. What's your objective, your goals? Keep it simple. At the end of the day, it's how you want to deliver it. Something wrong with this. Yeah. And ours, for me, is never give up, keep on hustling. That's what women do, hustle.
All right. Yes, women never stop, yeah? Give a big round of applause to both our panelists. All right, with that, we wrap up our session for today. I am incredibly proud to be on the stage together with these two amazing women who have shared their whole journey. We do not have that such much time actually to share the whole journey, but I'm pretty much sure that every and each of you have actually gotten a lot of like input, new perspectives on what they have shared earlier. And I'm truly learning so much from them as well. Thank you so much, Penny, and thank you so much, Nisa. You can. All right, thank you so much.